Hello everybody, it's Philly Kuts. I just got done watching the Marquez Timothy Bradley fight. Apologize, I've been having trouble with my video editing software. It keeps crashing, so I have to do this video on my HTC One front-facing camera. So, how did it go down? Well, I want to first say that I'm very impressed with how Tim Bradley has handled himself, both coming up into this fight and in the fight itself. Bradley, I think, had all the pressure in this fight and leading up into this fight. If anybody out there watched the Kellerman interview, I think it's Face Off, the show it's called, in which he interviews both fighters and they kind of face off, face to face. They're all present in the interview. It's a three-way interview, put it that way. And Bradley was very forthcoming in talking about how upset he's been since winning against Manny Pacquiao, because we all know that was a controversial decision that was handed to him. We all know, I'm going to say we all know, except the judges that watched that fight, that Pacquiao was the winner there. So Bradley's been carrying around the burden of that and the vitriol of lots of boxing fans for a long time now, and that was evident when he fought Ruslan Prodakovic. I can't even say his name, but when he fought Ruslan and came out as a different kind of Timothy Bradley, came out as like this Rambo Bradley, you know, like he just really wanted to go for a knockout against this Russian, and it just wasn't happening, and he almost lost that fight. I thought that, some people thought that Ruslan won that fight. Bradley got knocked down actually a few times. I thought that Bradley did enough in that fight in the middle rounds to win. But it was still very close, and it was a fighting style that Bradley employed in that fight that just was not Timothy Bradley. Well, tonight, the real Timothy Bradley came back, and I thought that Timothy Bradley fought a brilliant fight. I thought that he was very reserved, yet aggressive in the right spots. He kept himself out of harm's way from Marquez. He really made Marquez look 40 years old. That's basically what this fight came down to. I thought that Marquez just looked old. He looked slow, no head movement whatsoever at all. And the only positive in the fight for him was that he landed more power punches. However, none of those power punches really stuck out to me. That really looked like they hurt Bradley very bad. And in fact, I thought the best punch of the fight was near the end of the fight, in like the last 5 seconds of the 12th round, when Bradley almost knocked down Marquez after Marquez became aggressive. Because he knew he was losing the fight, I think. I think in the back of his mind, he knew he was losing the fight. Even though Marquez of old came back in this after the fight, storming out of the ring, not waiting to be interviewed in the ring by Kellerman. He immediately left the fight, stormed back to his dressing room, and is crying a foul again of the judges and the boxing community, and that 6 fights that he's lost have been robberies, and it's just, come on, man. Be a good sport. And I just don't see how anybody can think that Marquez won this fight. I really don't. I just thought that Bradley just looked brilliant. He looked brilliant. It was a good match, and I'm not a Tim Bradley fan. Anybody who's been watching, my channel here knows that I'm a huge Manny Pacquiao fan, and I'm not hating on Marquez because of that. It was just Marquez just didn't have it. He didn't have it this time. I think that 40 years, that age factor, was just really caught up with him. And what's he gonna do from here? Dang, Pac-Man wins in November against Rios. Maybe we'll see Pac-Man Marquez 5. Or, Pac-Man wins. Maybe we'll see Pac-Man Bradley 2. I don't know. That could be a good possibility, And now Bradley's going to have that confidence again after, convincingly winning, in my eyes, against Marquez. Really, Marquez didn't have to take this fight. I mean, if you really think about it, maybe he should have retired on a high note, you know? He finally climbed and ascended that mountain of Manny Pacquiao, and that shadow of discontent that has always been over him concerning the trilogy they had beforehand. I mean, why? I mean, I guess he wanted to win the 5th title in a 5th weight class and be the only Mexican fighter ever to do that, which would have been phenomenal. That's the only reason I can think of that he wanted to do this. And it's got to be painfully disappointing, because he would have been, I mean, imagine the distinction that is when you consider all the great fighters throughout history that have come from Mexico. So, tough times for Marquez. And Bradley has just been very composed, even after being booed by a very, very pro-Marquez crowd out in Vegas. The boos were just raining in. They were just raining in on Timothy Bradley. And I actually felt for him, because believe me, I'm no fan of Bradley. After how the judges gave him that belt from Pacquiao, I just have not, you know, and the way that he fought against Ruslan, very, very sloppy. But he's returned to form, and he looked great. And he's really handled himself well, considering all the demons that he has been carrying around mentally since the Pacquiao fight. I mean, it's just you can't talk about either one of these fighters without bringing up Manny Pacquiao. It's a Bermuda Triangle. You get lost in it, and you have to. And there's no way that you can't. All right, guys, that's been Philly Kuts. Good fight tonight. Could have been a little more exciting, but again, I think Timothy Bradley convincingly won. I don't know what the one judge, let me just address the judges again, because the scores were, here's how the scores were read. I didn't write down the judges' names, but the first judge score that was read, they gave it to Marquez, 115, 113. I was like, what? Was CJ Ross one of the judges? That's what I thought. I was like, oh my God, I hope that bitch wasn't there. But it wasn't CJ Ross. And then the other scores were 115, 113 Bradley, and then 116, 112, which was a score that I thought was a lot more in line with what really went down. So let me know what you guys thought in the comment section below, and let me know what your predictions are for the Pacquiao-Rios fight. All right, it's Philly Kuts. Peace.